Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thank you so much for coming to Sky Stage Literature Night. I think we have a really great evening planned for you tonight. Rod Deacey and the DC Beats are here. We have some other great poets who Rod will announce. A couple quick announcements. Restrooms are down there to your left. If you are interested in any of this amazing art that you see here, this installation sculpture, this sculpture, come out and you can talk to me out there. I'll tell you about it. And also, while you're out there, you can get beer, wine, and there are some books by the poets out there that are available as well. So, Rod, bring one up. Welcome.
Thanks, Aaron. That was great. Right, we are waiting at the moment for one poet who is on her way. And she is a formal poet, mostly. That's what she's known for. Her name is Claudia Gary. And I have this thing where I'm sending stuff off to magazines, and I look at previous people who've got accepted, and every time I go down there, there's her name on the list. So she is much published. But instead of going second, we have starting Mr. Luther Jett, but I'll introduce him in a minute because I hate anybody to have to start. At the shows we've done over the years, Ron and I, which is, I don't know, approaching 850 in this town, okay? All of those shows, I hated anybody else to have to start. So I'm going to start with one now, which is a terza rima, which is the pattern that Dante used. One of the problems with the terza rima is it's difficult to stop, which is why Dante's stuff is so long. It's easier in Italian because all the names end in vowels, so there's a lot going on there. I wrote this short thing in September because September 18th came around and I realized it was 50 years since Jimi Hendrix had died. So this is a little interaction I had with Mr. Hendrix before he died. It's called Was It Voodoo? Can it be 50 years since he moved on? It seems like it was just the other day I heard him dance inside a much-loved song. Not simply working sounds. I felt him play, wielding volume like some manic master. Music shook my cells, no getting away. The notes fat and thick, first slow, then faster. These tones were brand new, conjured in thin air, free-falling from his white Stratocaster. April 67, a fundraiser. Not on the bill, he came to catch Pink Floyd. But they asked him to play as he was there. How could he say no? Not even annoyed when they put him on the Poets' small stage. He strapped on his guitar and claimed the void. The great hall window panes buzzed in outrage, containing his full-on sonic attack. Then, after a red-hot 5-song rampage, he stopped, laid guitar down, still feeding back, doused it in lighter fluid, struck a match, but it wouldn't light. Damp matchbook set back. Right in front, I said, "Here's a lighter, catch." He caught it and set the guitar ablaze. High's hands held high like a boxer who's won his match. As flames burned the last hint of purple haze, he shook my hand, said, "Thanks, man. Live today," and vanished into the applause, hands raised. I can see his face clear as yesterday. Is it 50 years since he went away? I guess it is. Thanks. I apologize for the slight interruption in the middle of that poem. I had my eyes tested, and they said I had 20/20 vision, but my eyelids were wearing out. So I have to have surgery on my eyelid here, and they cancelled it 3 times because of COVID. So after that, I said, I'll wait till there's a vaccine. So I'm waiting until next year. So please excuse me if I look like something planning on Halloween.
That explains it.
Anyway, as Claudia isn't here yet, we will start with our main poet for this evening. Woo, Mr. Luther Jett, who has a new book out, and he's going to read from it. Luther is an impressive poet who comes to everybody's lips when they say, who's the best poet on the East Coast? Here he is, Luther Jett.
Thank you, Rod. I'm really, everyone hear me okay? Because I'm not taking this mask off. I'm really happy to be here at Sky Stage. And I also want to acknowledge everyone out there in internet land who is tuning in from God knows where. Whoever you are, thanks for showing up. I'm going to read some poems from my forthcoming book. It is entitled Everyone Disappears. It will be out from Finishing Line Press in late November, if all goes well. And I might read a couple of newer poems as well. So we'll start. That time we were starving. One of us died. I don't remember whether it was you or me, but I'm certain the disappearance tore a hole in the continuum, and it doesn't take much now. Fragment of sky, a wall the color of sunflowers, the path between the birches. Miss one meal, and all the other hungers rush in. Watch night's fingers grip the naked trees, and see how lights flicker on, only to fade out again. Yesterday, I went from room to room, all through the house, rifling drawers, unsealing boxes, searching for what cannot be found. For what? I have forgotten. Why the ocean tastes of tears. Everyone goes away. Everyone disappears. That should not surprise anyone. It comes with the ticking of clocks in upstairs halls, with the shadows of afternoons that turn golden before fading, and the last star left shining between the midnight west and balm dark dawn. My mother cries at her kitchen sink, and the girl I argued with washes out her paintbrushes in a room I have never seen. Voices fill the air. Small birds go south. The snow melts. Slowly, everyone disappears when you most want them to stay. Everyone goes somewhere else, and that is why the ocean tastes of tears. It's the one thing you can count on when you close your eyes you dream, and if anyone is still there when you wake, you've witnessed a revolution. On days like this, gray, slick with rain, smoke rises from chimneys, fog congeals in the low places, and it is not good to remember other days like this. The trains that leave never return. Today, my brother would have turned 56. He could not breathe any longer. Days like this steal the wind from among the branches. Hunger becomes a stone which lies down and does not get up. Smoke becomes a word for that which cannot be spoken. Fog covers it. A hand pressing down on an open mouth. I could wish another conclusion, but on days like this, everything silvers, monochrome, flat. The smoke, the fog, the faces of people on the street are hidden. There is no returning, yet we are always looking back over our shoulders. Inhale, exhale, inhale. Red dirt. This is the hell of it. The injury becomes apparent in each step across the beaten earth. The wound we make of breathing. There is no life which, in the end, does not depend on death. Carnivore cells consume all in their paths. Fungus feeds upon decay. Even flowers cannot bloom by sunlight's sole behest, requiring rot, broken leaves, faded petals. Do you imagine to do better than the poppies on the field? You who scatters seed across the continents. Each orgasm is a little death. Each song a requiem. Simply rising of a morning is to undertake a battle pitched against unending night. Red dirt collects in every crevice of the skin and never will scrub clean. The soldier in his bivouac dreams himself at war with time and starts awake to scan a ragged horizon marking the slow paling down the sky. Neither he nor I nor you can claim to know the day ahead. Although the watcher on the border watching back, we know as well as we know ourselves. Dear sister, there was a photograph, probably taken around 1954, of me and Daddy out on our front lawn. Dad is cutting the grass with a gas-powered push mower. I remember it was deep green, and I am running behind with a tiny toy lawnmower. Both of us are much younger than you and I are now. I thought I had a copy. but I can no longer find it. Still, it's locked in my memory. Do you have a copy? Why would you, really? Did it ever actually exist? It is snowing here as evening draws down its shade, and I am thinking of that green day long gone. The ground is so cold. It is rapidly turning white as Father's hair the last time I saw him. Nightmares. It's a Halloween poem. My family has gone into town, leaving me with the house to myself. Dishes everywhere. Piles of laundry, books scattered across the floor. I am salvaging trinkets from forgotten fairs. The back door will not stay closed. Something out there wants in. The wind picks up. Snow covers the yard. Trees lose their shapes. The sky going black. I don't know where I am. The dead return to life. My mother saw them walking on the ceiling, then went up to speak with them. When I was a child, in the darkest night hour, the grandfather clock at the foot of the stair would move through our rooms when it thought we were all asleep. Now I'm going to read a couple of new poems that haven't appeared anywhere because I wrote them within the past 2 months. The Promised Land. In the end, the wall crumbles, as it was always meant to, under desert sun, just as the boy with the broken mouth said it would. Only the river remained to be crossed. Fruit vines beckoned from stony hillsides where hoopoes warbled and preened shiny feathers. Set against that promise, a weight of chains, an iron door, pages of a book left out in the rain, bronze arrows and a broken clay pipe, feathers, brass buttons, a coin, barren branches, a scrap of lace. Cities rise, cities fall, until the stones can no more bear their weight, until a pillar of dust sails over the broad sea. There, in the green dawn, a woman with a crown of flame brandishes a torch, a scroll. Her eyes gaze back where we once slept. And I will close with another new poem, The Builders. Who made this house? Who saw the timbers laid, the stone foundation? Who carved the door frames and the window sills? Who dug the well and ran the pipes? Who forged the pump handle? And who stoked the fires to smelt the ore from which the stove was cast? What mason troweled the chimney bricks, course on course to reach toward the heavens? Who? Who kept the ledgers, for that matter, at the lumber yard? And who fed the dog that guarded it at night? Who turned the lathe to craft the chair you sit in, or the table where you nightly dine? Yes, you, who live here now. you did not get here on your own. And when you sleep and dream, you do not dream alone. Thank you for listening.
Thanks, Luther. Now you know what I was talking about. My name is Rod Deacey, in case you didn't know. This is Mr. Ron Goad on percussion and train whistles. And this is John Werntz, born with the bass in his hand. Or so he claims. We shall see. We're going to go through our program reasonably fast to allow time for Claudia, who just made it, to read in the open mic section afterwards. And we've never made more than 8 songs, poems, whatever you call them, in Sky Stage. This is our 3rd annual show. So tonight we're going to try for 9, which is why I'm keeping the chat short. However, I will say that beat poetry is not quite the same as the poetry you just heard from Jett. It is kind of in that little gulch in between song lyrics and real poetry. And it kind of speaks for itself, so we'll just get on with it. We're going to start with the one I always lead off with, which is called... I will tell you a little story about this. Just a little story, tiny story. I walk the dog round here every night in different directions. And one night I'm walking along the far end of Church Street, and I pass a guy going the other way, and I nod to him. And about 30 seconds later he said, "Hey, is your name Rod?" And I said, "Yes, it is." And he said, "I heard you read a poem called Everything Changes 2 years ago in Brewer's Alley." And it really made an impact on me, and I'm going, obviously it did. Anyway, that's the end of the story. Well, I could go on. Here we go. Everything changes sooner or later. Some things fall to pieces, some things get better, but don't call me crying at 2 in the morning. But everything changes, you don't get a warning. Everything changes in time. Have you ever been back to the house you grew up in? You'll notice it's quite a bit smaller, while the town you grew up in seems twice as big. All those new streets make you feel like a foreigner. But everything changes sooner or later. If she wants to leave you, then go ahead, let her. But don't call me crying at 3 in the morning. But everything changes with every day's dawning. Everything changes in time. Oh, the homecoming queen, known as Miss Sex Appeal, has developed a tongue that'll cut right through steel. And the quarterback hero the girls all adored is selling pickups to rednecks at Isuzu Ford. Everything changes before too long. Every time we turn around, something else is gone. But don't call me crying at 4 in the morning, for everything changes. You don't get a warning. Everything changes in time. Plus ça change, plus c'est la même chose. That's what some French guy says, but who knows what he knows? But I know. I know. Hey, everything changes, not just the weather. Some things fall apart, some things come together. If it isn't getting bigger, then it's getting smaller. If it isn't getting shorter, then it's getting taller. If it used to be a dime, now it's $2 or $3. If it's not coming in, well, it must be going out. If it's not flooded, well, you know it's a drought. If you used to be a true believer, well, now you got doubts. You know, the dog days of summer made my thinking hazy. I seriously thought it was about dogs being lazy. But it changed into being about a star. Now that's crazy. So I went out for breakfast. But it turned into dinner. Just like yesterday's losers have turned into winners. And those saints we looked up to have turned into sinners. No, I'm not thinner, but you look like you're fatter. Is your mind clear, or are you mad like the Hatter? Like Bob said, we're being born, or we're busy dying. Even truth can change now, though some call that lie. 20,000 and counting without even trying. But everything changes in time, and time's flying. Everything changes, everything changes, everything changes in time. Don't you find it ironical and strange that the only real constant is that guy on the corner with a purple mohawk, weird tattoos, and all those painful piercings, who every day when you walk by asks you very politely if you can possibly spare any change. Okay, American and mythical heroes time. We blew across the cornfields, the tornado hot and wild. We ran down that Kansas City train. Stopped it in a minute, stood the folks up by the line and laughed to see the money rolling in. We hit a bank in West Virginia, shook it empty like a shell, and we vowed to keep the South alive on this long and winding road to hell. You ask me what my name is, well, it ain't Robin Hood, and this outlaw living never was a game. Me and my brother Frank, we robbed stages, trains and banks. My name is Jesse James. We learned our trade from Quantrill, that cruel and cunning wolf. And I ran a while with Anderson instead. That man never took a prisoner. He killed them all himself. I helped him shoot a squad of Yankees through the head. Me and Frank and the younger boy, we liked raiding much too well. We kept the spirit of the South alive on this long and lonesome road to hell. Life may be full of choices. Bloody Bill and Little Arch made mine. So when the war was over, life was way too quiet to tame. We were used to taking what we wanted any way we could find. And I know robbing ain't raiding, but the rush is just the same. There's nothing like that feeling. Making a train stop on the line. Or bank clerks running to hand me money saying my name. I thought I'd tire of that, but no sir. It feeds me every time. It's Jesse James. It's the outlaw, Jesse James. I don't reckon to be an old man. I fly too close to the sun. Live by the gun, die by the gun, they claim. But I think I made my mark here when all is said and done. Folks like to boast they've been robbed by Jesse James. And I won't take back a minute when I hear that judgment bell. I try to keep the South alive on this long and weary road to hell. Oh, you know what my name is. I ain't no Robin Hood. And this outlaw living's still a brutal game. Me and my brother Frank, we rob stages, trains and banks. Everyone knows the name of Jesse James. Even when I'm dead and gone, my name will still live on. What is it now? It's Jesse! Jesse James. Thank you very much. Inspired accompaniment here from the back. Okay, this is for Patrick. In my walking, I walk up to the cemetery at the top of the hill, Mount Olivet. And as you walk in there, you will see somebody standing on a 20-foot column with his hand stretched out. And I used to ride around there for doing laps on my bike. And because the whole cemetery is 2 miles round if you run all the way around the outside or ride all the way around the outside. And then I would sit down at the top on one of the benches there and watch the statue. And on Francis Scott Key's outstretched finger pointing to the flag, birds would alight. Quite regularly, actually. So that spurred me to do this. That and reading the accompanying verbiage underneath the statue on the plinth. I was sitting below Frankie's elegant bronze knee. I said, "How do you do it? What's the key, Mr. Key, to writing an anthem that's lasted so well? Are there hints you can pass on? Pray tell, please, pray tell." He conferred with the blue jay perched on one finger, who scratched and gurgled, not much of a singer. The jay says ignore you, but I like to retain that human connection. So I'll briefly explain. Here's what I know, well, what worked for me. Don't bother with new music, choose an old tune that's free. A rousing drinking song is good, ignore where it comes from. The one I chose, ironically, was British, from London. You need a 2-line refrain from the end of each verse, which anyone can holler, sober, tipsy, or worse. The sentiments must be simple, easily understood. Say something about the country that sounds vaguely good. No one sings more than the first verse, the rest are ignored. So don't spend too long on writing much more. At least half my lyrics are not clear. Read and see. But I won a wager when I put vauntingly in verse 3. I'm amazed that people visit me from all around the nation just because my first 8 lines caught their imagination. No one remembers there was a great lawyer, although they ought. I presented more than 100 cases to the Supreme Court. But the thing I find amusing from this column I stand on is the button people press for the sound of my anthem. For what they hear is the tune from the US Navy band, not the words that made me famous throughout the land. In the description below me, one name is missed. The composer of the music, John Stafford Smith. He wrote the tune to a song for the Anacreontic Society. Gentlemen interested in music, but not in sobriety. The club was named for old Greek poet Anacreon, whose principal interests were women, wine, and song. The lyrics Smith sent to music stayed on these topics. In praise of music, much drinking, and of course, sex. Remember I was talking about a 2-line refrain? Well, if you listen to this one, the meaning is plain. And long may the sons of Anacreon entwine the myrtle of Venus with Bacchus's vine. But this is too much information. What am I thinking? The melody shouldn't remind you of sex and drinking. Wipe your mind clean. Just forget what I've said. Please put all those thoughts right out of your head. If you can. Good evening to you. Well, this is American if you like. Or even if you don't like. This one I haven't done here before. Of the program I chose 4 that we had done here before one or other of the previous performances, but the rest of them have not been done here. So I've written like close to 80 of these things, so be careful of how encouraging you are, because I could come back with 2-hour shows, 3-hour shows. Gotta move fast. I climbed up the mountain to see the guru who sits up there, to hear some pearls of wisdom and to breathe that mountain air. I said, my life is going nowhere, wise one, how can I get ahead? He thought for a moment, closed his eyes, pumped his fist and said, you gotta move fast. Gotta take your chances. It makes no sense to be sitting on the fence. It's up and at 'em, carpe diem, before the moment's past. Just one shot, that's all you got. You gotta move fast. Then I went out to the racetrack to watch those ponies in the racing game. There was a long shot filly in the 5th race with my mother's maiden name. I knew I should have bet on her, chose the favourite instead. As the filly led the field past the finish line, she turned her head and said, oh, you gotta move fast, gotta take your chances. It makes no sense to be sitting on the fences. Go with your gut or lose a lot. Too late now, the die is cast. You missed your shot, that's all you got. You gotta move fast. Oh, they say speed kills, but I think they're talking about too much crystal meth. But a quick leap out of your comfort zone will only scare you half to death. And second's not an option here. You may as well be lost. This is America, folks. You gotta move fast. Here we go. I took my best girl to the islands to pop the question by the sea. I searched my pockets for the ring, then got down on one knee. But my girl was halfway across the bay on the back of some guy's jet ski. As they carved through the sparkling water, I heard a call back to me. You gotta move fast. I'm easily distracted. You were too slow to ask. I was otherwise attracted. Don't sing the blues, I feel like you, but I'm having such a blast. We're not through, but what should you do? You gotta start moving fast. We went to our local national park, our favourite picnic spot. When we arrived, a big surprise. Oil wells in the parking lot. An oily runoff was running off into what used to be a clear trout stream. Don't national parks belong to we the people? Or was that just a dream? Oh, we gotta move fast. Stop our land being looted. I'm simply aghast. Retrogression's way past stupid. Everyone wants clean water and air and hands off our coasts and parks. We're taking note, we'll vote. We care. You know we'll be moving fast. Oh, they say everything comes to he or she who waits. But that's a big fat lie. You can sit and wait if you like and watch your life and times flash by. The old paradigm is way out of line. It's like living in the low-tech past. These are dangerously troubling times, folks. You gotta move fast. Faster! 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 Fast. Thanks, guys. You're all still here. That's great. Okay, this one is dedicated to the lady who lives at 206 East Church Street. And it's called Patience is a Virtue.
Oh.
No, be patient. That comes later in the program. So, small granddaughter, today we are not learning about birds or trees or flowers or the weather. Every day we wait until after your nap to take our morning meander. Today we're going to talk about waiting, which is why we are making our way to the wooden bench at the railway station, where we can contemplate the empty platforms, listen to the bees buzzing around in the black-eyed Susans, and wait. Waiting is an essential learned skill. There will never be any time in your life when you are not waiting for something or somebody. We'll start with some easy examples, such as waiting for the swimming pool to open, waiting for your mother to come collect you, waiting for your birthday to finally arrive, waiting to be old enough to go to school, waiting to be old enough to leave school, waiting to be old enough to leave home, waiting to be old enough to know better, waiting to catch that elusive, fluttering bug of love, waiting for your prince to come, waiting for your prince to come home, waiting for your prince to come home from the war, waiting for the war to be over, waiting for your ship to come in, waiting for the other shoe to drop, waiting for the penny to drop, waiting to have your own children, waiting for payback, that bitch, waiting for your children to leave at last, waiting for your parents to leave at last, waiting to be free at last, thank God Almighty, waiting for freedom to be more than just some people talking, waiting for freedom to be a little less lonely, waiting for God or Jesus, waiting for the rising tide to float your boat, waiting to live a little, then a little more, waiting to sing Je ne regrette rien, waiting to be content with now, not when, waiting to be too old to worry about the world, waiting to replay those best memories, waiting for that to be almost enough, waiting for the rough beast, slouching, waiting for the last dance, a final pirouette, waiting to sleep, perchance. We'll discuss all these things when we are sitting at the station, and how some things are worth the wait, while other things aren't worth a damn. Or we could, of course, wait until you were somewhat older. But the station is always a good place to learn about waiting. Did you know they even have a special room for it? And if we can simply wait for a while, a heartbeat, a breath or two, a lifetime, the train will come. Thanks. This is a fun piece. Moderate jazz swing. Oh, you can kiss that ham and Swiss goodbye. Leave the pork in the pork and beans. Never mind your mama's apple pie. Don't reach for the Georgia peaches and cream. Oh, you can pass on that pasta. Can your grandma's chicken soup? Here's a dish that goes down faster. It'll knock you for a loop-de-loop. It's gotta be fish taco when you're ready to eat. Fish taco, spicy but oh so sweet. Well, do you believe in love at first sight? Try fish taco. It's love at first bite. So don't say yes please to that cheesecake. Don't jump on those fried frog's legs. Don't gnaw that T-bone steak by mistake. And don't be tempted by those deviled eggs. You can toss that Caesar salad right out. Ignore the liver and the fava beans. You can do without those Brussels sprouts. Keep that gumbo down in New Orleans. It has to be fish taco, just too nice. Fish taco, black beans and rice. Or do you believe in love at first sight? Try fish taco, it's love at first bite. No curry, no goulash, no Irish stew, no burger, chop suey or vindaloo, no pizza, paella or key lime pie, no foot-long hot dog or corned beef on rye, no fish and chips with mushy peas, no Swedish meatballs or mac and cheese, no buffalo wings, no barbecued brisket, no poisonous pufferfish. I mean, really, why risk it when you have fish taco with a squeeze of lime? A fish taco, you'll eat it all the time. Well, do you believe in love at first sight? Try fish taco, it's love at first bite. Ah, you've had enough of that stroganoff. Just say no to the cookie dough. That tenderloin is much too tough. The pheasant's pleasant, but it has to go. Now you don't need those Hong Kong noodles. Give that ratatouille to the cat. Pass that hot pot roast to the poodle, because we know where it's at. It's gotta be fish taco, not an ounce of fat. Fish taco, we like it like that. Well, do you believe in love at first sight? Try fish taco, it's love at first bite. No, really, it's love after just one single bite. Good, you'll be glad to know we're scorching through the program. I know how hard those seats are. Okay. This is kind of serious, but not really serious. Well, it is serious. It's very serious. It's called Refuge. Population sizes of wildlife decreased by 60% globally between 1970 and 2014. 60%. We're killing everything else off. Our Living Planet report, that was 2018. Strangely, the cemetery on top of the hill has become our city's leading wildlife refuge. Despite the denizens inhabiting the enclosed ecosystems in the centres of downtown city blocks, where backyards jostle each other for supremacy, roaming bands of raccoons rule the trash bins here. And possums predictably play dead in rival yards. However, the Hilltop Cemetery still contains many more non-human vertebrates than the whole of downtown. Consider this summary of daytime sightings during a single 2-mile circuit of the headstones on a sunny fall afternoon. 3 groundhogs, 1 fox, 4 rabbits, 4 raptors, including 2 red-tailed hawks, 1 American kestrel, I think, and a mystery swooper on some small, unfortunate, furry animal. 1 nuthatch, very rare, 1 unseen but unheard woodpecker, a single cardinal, many sparrows, finches, grackles, and or starlings, I could never tell the difference, 3 turkey vultures circling high, checking for roadkill, 5 cawing crows, no French hens, 8 mockingbirds, 3 blue jays, 6 red robins, 1 small green toad, 5 fresh burial places for dead humans. Last but certainly not least, 67 squirrels, including 6 black ones and a group of 7, all seem to live in one large linden tree. But why should we worry about wildlife refuges? Because more than 1 million plant and animal species that share our planet are at risk of extinction. In the last 50 years, our eradication of 60% of wild vertebrates worldwide has taken less time than mass extinctions, like the dinosaurs dying out. Also, 3 billion of America's birds have gone missing. If you see them, please send them back as soon as possible. We need them singing, especially the meadowlarks with their rain of melodies, to ease these ugly, untuned days. Plus, our reckless use of insecticides has killed off vast numbers of bees and other pollinating insects. Isn't anybody paying attention? Do those who approve these insecticides have any operational brain cells? Apart from their wonderful honey, we need the bees and other insects for pollination of food crops. Duh! What awful statistics! What on earth have we been thinking? Why are we even allowed to keep pets? Man has been every living creature's absolute worst enemy ever. However, it appears this has already been anticipated. The necessary adjustment is essentially self-regulating. The root of the problem is about to be brought under control simply by the Earth's temperature being raised slightly. All the planet's ice is now in the process of melting, which is raising sea levels and will ultimately submerge significant areas of the land masses. The accompanying extremes of weather will reduce human populations within 50 years by approximately 60%, which seems only fair, both by killing us off directly and indirectly by limiting food production. The harshness of the climate will fragment human societies, and lack of food will keep us too busy trying to stay alive to cause any more trouble. World population should return to a manageable level, say 5 to 7 million, the same as in Roman times, within 500 years or so. Meanwhile, Mother Nature has seen Frederick's cemetery, found it good, and is testing additional ways to restore the balance, one squirrel at a time. Also, has anybody noticed that there are more cockroaches around than usual? Remember La Cucaracha? The VW bug of insects. It has survived 10 million years of climate extremes without a design change. Perhaps a coincidence. Or maybe just a sign of the time. Okay, we only had 2 more, so it's okay. You're safe. You can leave soon. This one is about somebody who found the ideal American job. And it's based very loosely on a... I've got time to talk about it now. It's based very loosely on a song which was made famous in the First or Second World War. I can't remember which one. Called Bless 'Em All. Bless 'Em All. The long and the short and the tall. Which kind of stuck in my head. There was a play by Willis Hall called The Long, the Short and the Tall. And I had the misfortune to play Lance Corporal McLeish in that play. And I couldn't get rid of the Scottish accent for at least 6 months. It was terrible. Anyway, this is called I Feel 'Em All. I worked as a factory night watchman. Me and the rats and the dust. Then I worked packing meat at a meat packing plant. Till that meat packing business went bust. But this airport job suits me completely. At the interview they said, "How is that?" I said, "I've spent many long hours in security. And I'm used to handling fat."
You're hired.
I feel 'em all, feel 'em all. The long and the short and the tall. If you don't want to be scanned, I'll simply do it by hand. I feel 'em all, feel 'em all, feel 'em all. Our scanners show things in great detail, right down to that mole on your rear, your piercings and jewelry, and all that tomfoolery, and that tattoo you've got, you know where. You know we can't save scans for later viewing.
No, really?
Can't post your scans on the web.
YouTube!
But if you're concerned about scans, don't you worry. I'll use the deep probing pat down instead. I feel 'em all, I feel 'em all. The long and the short and the tall. I'm checking for plastic, maybe in your butt cheek. I feel 'em all, feel 'em all, feel 'em all. Oh, the world is full of crazies who kill innocent people for fun. They've been fooled into thinking that paradise can be found with a bomb or a gun. So bite back your rants about privacy. Stop throwing those indignant fits. What would you rather do? Enjoy a grope or two? Or be blown into very small bits? I feel 'em all, feel 'em all. The long and the short and the tall. If I squeeze your breast, why, it's all for the best. I feel 'em all, feel 'em all, feel 'em all. If you're flying, I'm sure that you'll meet me in the hall on the way to your gate. You'll be amazed what I can tell with one simple feel. I know all Vicky's secrets and I can tell real boobs from fake. But there's really no need to be nervous. I'm here to serve in this land of the free. Well, for now, free. When you're on your way to fly these friendly old skies, you'll meet no one quite as friendly as me. I feel 'em all, feel 'em all. The long and the short and the tall. Please don't complain. Instead, give a smile, or I'll pat you down again. Presidential style. I feel 'em all. I feel 'em all. Feel 'em all. I feel 'em all. Feel 'em all. Feel 'em all. Yes, I do. You too, no exceptions. Hands against the wall, please. Hands against the wall. Okay, here we go. Here's the record breaker. This is called Oh Freedom. Now, I did have another one to finish with, but it required too many people screaming, and we decided that screaming virus over everybody was not a good idea, so we dumped it. So stick around for next year's show, and we'll do it then. It's okay. It's a Halloween poem. Interactive. This one's called Oh Freedom. Woke up this sunshine morning with nothing left to lose. Took some chances here or there. But then I had to choose people, money, or nature. You know, I picked the wild, where the days are always sunny and the winter's always mild. Oh, I built myself a little cabin, but the loneliness was tough. Tried to live as one with nature, but it was kind of rough. Bought a book from Amazon on forest plants for eating. Almost trekked to Charcoal Bell, but it felt too much like cheating. I lay there getting thinner, wondering what was next for me. Running out of money, at least the water's free. But it started tasting funny, and it's hard to breathe the air. There were laws to cover that, but they're no longer there. I feel the mythic heart of America slipping quietly away. The people's will overruled, ignored, we've all gone astray. Politicians put party before nation, driven by greed and lies. The weather's getting warmer, wilder, the tide's still on the rise. And we're headed for the darkness that we fought once before. It's dangerous to disagree, it'll be quiet. We're out the door. Hatred's out in the open if you're yellow, black or brown. Crazy winds of xenophobia are closing freedom down. Freedom is when they haven't caught you yet. So you've got to hit the ground running. Right from the get-go. Gain an inch or two, grow a beard, shave your head, move to New York and hide in plain sight. All you need is an overcoat for those cold winters, a big scarf and a trilby hat. Think Leonard Cohen. Keep moving, ride the subway, don't ever support the Yankees. After a few years, dye your eyebrows, dump the wig and the long skirts, cross a river or two, take up organic farming somewhere north of Fresno. Learn Spanish. Open bank accounts in several names. Understand that you were never entirely safe. Acquire an RV. Not too big, not too new. One day, sell everything. Cash out, drive south, and tour Belize. Buy a bed and breakfast. And do your bookings online, focusing on know-nothing middle-aged clients from the Midwest. Order binoculars from Amazon, take up bird watching. Now you can track a keel-billed toucan. Hear it creak and croak in the old mahogany tree while you resign yourself to never being truly free. After you hit 80, realize that you've had a pretty good run and that freedom is just some people talking. What? Just some people talking after all this time? That CD came out in 1973. God damn it. So what are they saying now? Does it make any sense? Or is everyone fighting for a seat on the same old fence? It's not the flying nor the witty repartee. It's not the falling, though the way down is free. It's not the prospect of a second chance. It's not the fear of God's fiery glance. When it comes down to it, all answers will be found in that inevitable interaction with the ground. But they say we've got to hit rock bottom before we can get back up and at 'em. We still have a secret weapon. Please take note. We still have the defining freedom of the vote. That's it for tonight. For tonight from us. Thank you from Mr. Ron Goad, Mr. John Werntz, and myself, Rod Deacey. I know beat poetry is it's good to listen to for about 5 minutes, and after that, it's the strength of your endurance, which we're looking for. But we appreciate you sitting there. We will move directly on to open mic section. I know Claudia is here to... She got here a little too late for the first half, so she's going to read some in the second half. So maybe Claudia could come up. Oh, good. Thank you. Without interfering with the mic being. Claudia Gary, as I mentioned earlier on when she wasn't here, is one of the poets who shows up all the time in the magazines I'm sending stuff to, and I read through the things which the magazines have just published, and there is the name, Claudia Gary. She is one of the best formal poets in this neck of the woods, so please welcome Claudia Gary.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Can everyone hear me? Thank you. Rod, you're really very difficult act to follow. and the band, that was really wonderful. I'm going to read a few poems from, let me just make sure I keep track of time. Okay. This is called Blues Manqué. It's a villanelle. I've suffered, but I can't quite sing the blues. My troubles are occasional, not chronic. My angst is true, but not the kind you'd use against the everyday to find or lose your heart. My chords are major and harmonic. I've suffered, but I don't dare sing the blues. Any attempt would probably amuse, but not in ways your songs have made iconic. This place has atmosphere. Your angst is true, while mine's nothing to use in threatening to blow a major fuse or skip to Paris on the supersonic. I've not suffered enough to sing the blues. Saying I have is asking for a bruise. You'll throw tomatoes. They'll be hydroponic. This angst is true, but nothing I can use to make you say mine is the pain you'd choose. The plates I spin are porcelain, not tectonic. I suffer from a need to sing the blues with insufficient angst, too kind to use. Thank you. Thank you. This next one is my poem that appeared in Rattle, which was very, very gratifying. It's called In Binary. It's a combination of a love story and a mathematical kind of game. In Binary. What brought them together were gifts without number, but binary digits enticed them to stay. A system that each had discovered in childhood cemented their fate at an offbeat cafe. For her, it was somewhat like playing piano. He would make loops as if stringing small beads. Both had departed the realm of addition, since shapes, such as hands, had geometry's needs. Fighting with this mask, excuse me. Shapes such as hands had geometry's needs. While nursing their coffee and ordering breakfast, asking more questions and ordering tea, learning how deeply their temperaments nested. Each counted on fingers to 1023. Of course, people have only so many digits. Removing their shoes would be gauche even here, and even for souls who are clever and quirky. He drummed on the table. Ellipsis, my dear. Ellipsis? Why, yes. They continued on paper, by phone and by auto, by train and by air, till numbers approached, overtook, and divided what seemed an ethereal, cosmic affair. But while it continued, they often went walking by sunlight or moonlight to see what they'd find. They hung out with friends, and they hid out together. They listened to music, they cooked, and they dined. And strangely enough, though they had the occasion, never did either one count, while alive, on fingers and toes all the way to 1,048,575. And then a two-line poem, just continuing the idea of mathematics, a cure for insomnia. Fathomless fears that grind away my slumbers, I'll feed your gears imaginary numbers. Thank you. Those are from my new chapbook, Genetic Revisionism, poems about science and mathematics. I recently got back from Philadelphia, where I was working on the census for 20 days with a traveling team. That was quite an adventure. This is called Inner City Head Count, and it's kind of new, very new. Now that POTUS is in the hospital with COVID, longtime refusers open their doors and blink as if they'd never heard of the census. Have they been asleep? Did TV ads or highway signs alert them that I'm not police, FBI, or ICE? Not even the landlord's rent collector? Whatever woke them up? Today they nod and answer all my questions. Then they smile, wish me well, and tell me to stay safe. I hold the railing tightly, stepping down their doorsteps back onto the crumbling sidewalk. They've taken a small step out of the shadow that clutches them. I touch a screen. Their numbers slip away into an archive that promises to keep them safe. Case closed, case closed, case closed. That's the way it was. Yeah, it's very important stuff. And actually, tomorrow's the last day if anyone hasn't sent in their return. So, PSA. This is called... This is my a poem about the pandemic. It's in two parts. The first part is a villanelle, and the second part is a very short epigram. The reopening. COVID's next door, and quiche is in the oven. Not even trying to be nonchalant, I listen to the news, learn what's been proven and what so far has not. See who can govern and who can barely read. All that I want with COVID next door and quiche in the oven is to keep breathing, not become a sloven, somehow remain in a creative slant. I listen to the news, learn what is proven, miss more the ones I miss. Keep clothing woven or cut it up for masks. Am I still gaunt? COVID's next door and quiche is in the oven. Now sirens wail, although few cars are moving through the abundant spring whose flowers flaunt and glisten. In the news, it's being proven. For each nation and state, northern and southern, actions reopen. Inactions may haunt, reopening the door. Quiche in the oven. I listen to the news COVID has proven. And then part two, what's a virus to do? A quarantine to mope in? Corona doesn't buy it. What can it put its hope in with this starvation diet? But wait, They scream reopen, and at long last, a riot. Thank you. What time is it? Okay. What time? How many more minutes do I have? Well, anyway. Okay. Sorry? Oh, thank you. I'm going to read something that one of Rod's poems reminded me of. It's about the national anthem. This is kind of recasting of it. If I can find it. Yes. Okay, this is a sonnet. It's just called Anthem. Do me a favor. When you go outside, look over toward the harbor. If you squint, you'll see it, or you won't. But it can't hide from sun setting or rising. There's a hint, a remnant, where a spangled patch, embroidered above the rosy contrails of the dawn, still waves, as if the stars had reconnoitered their sister light. Why do I ramble on? There was a battle once to tear away that piece of cloth and burn it while we slept. We triumphed, but the gremlins are at play, sowing confusion as to what we've kept and what we're losing now, unless we save more than a recollection of the brave. Thank you. Maybe one more. Oh, yeah. Oh, God. I already read that one. Okay, this is called Frizz. This is this is a light poem. Frizz. Your mother said to straighten it and then add goo and curlers. Your classmates didn't care a bit, except the punks and twirlers. Your girlfriends asked to play with it, then offered kind suggestions. Your enemies made fun of it and asked the rudest questions. Your boss says only, keep it neat. Your colleagues claim they love it. The talk shows say you'll feel complete with hair that others covet. Your women friends say, shape it. Your man friend isn't saying. Now classmates plead, just color it, so no one knows we're graying. Thank you.
Anybody else want to come and read? If not, we'll close the evening down. You want to read?
I'd like to try.
But by all means. Mr. Goad would like to read a poem. It's probably ruined.
I've done it before. Not this poem.
Oh, okay.
Okay, you ready?
It's probably rude, so I warn you.
Well, I was teaching at a high school in Fairfax, and the principal called an emergency meeting. And we all gathered, and he said, I want you to be aware there's a new show called The Simpsons. And there's a young man in the show named Bart, who is an underachiever and proud of it. We can't have that in our school. No lunchboxes, no hats, no t-shirts for The Simpsons. I became interested and started watching the show. Then I started buying the VHS cassettes to enjoy at home, and I found one on a parody of Poe's Raven. Do you remember that? He didn't say nevermore. What did Bart say? Instead of nevermore, eat my shorts, right? So I showed that to my students, and we studied Poe's poem, of course, and a lot about him. He's a wonderful poet. And my students had a test on that, so I was really proud of myself for sort of countermanding the principal's frame of mind and finding out that The Simpsons, what a well-written show it was. And then I began to think when I saw a commercial on television that said, "Be all you can be" in the Army. And I thought of Bart Simpson, the underachiever, and how everything came together. And being all you can be is a little bit exerting. So maybe it's better to hold back a little bit and not be all you can be, but, save a little. So I wrote this about being mediocre. And when I raise my hand, I want to hear you say mediocre like this. Mediocre. Ready? Mediocre. Okay, do it again. Mediocre. You got it. Okay, so pay attention. It all started as a little child when the doctor told my parents I was born to be mild. I never understood why it is good to be all you can be. Like a sled dog in the center of the pack, you know just what I see. I'm a drone in life's beehive. Out of 10, a perfect 5. It's my legacy. I'm no prodigy. The die is cast. I'm middle class. Bringing up the rear. Muzak to my ear. An average Joe. The status quo. Life is surely nothing like I planned. I'm in the middle of each traffic jam. Just when I think I'll hold the key, and finally I rise above, I wake up in the morning, can't recall what I was thinking of. Success is just a one-night stand in mediocre land. Stitched into my seams, coded in my jeans, always halfway there, like Delaware. It's a family crest, tattooed on my chest, like Lawrence Welk. I'm powdered milk. In dreams, I'm free. The world can see the me that they do not see. It would be sublime if just one time I was stalked by paparazzi. Till then, everybody chant along with my mediocre song. Mediocre. Just a wannabe. Mediocre. A solid C. Mediocre. Also ran mediocre. Some generic brand. Mediocre. It's my destiny. Mediocre. All I'll ever be. That's my epitaph. Can't undo it. Can't subdue it. Can't unglue it. Can't eschew it. Can't break through it. Why pursue it? Screw it. Thank you.
Cool. Anybody else want to read after that? Thank you so much for coming out tonight. I know it was a beautiful day, but, a whole evening of poetry is kind of, you get major points for that. Cool. Thanks a lot. Good night.